I've been dreaming a new horizon, and a day it all came true. Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home, oh home sweet home, home sweet home.
Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan and Friends. Here's your host, Russ McClellan.
Hey, a new year, January 2021. We're still in the land of COVID, maybe. I don't know. Vaccine, no vaccine. Depends on who you are, I suppose. It's been an interesting 2020. And as we reflect, I have two of the best guys I could think about to reflect on 2020 because, I'm learning all the time, as is everybody. And the one thing I know for sure is that the world never stops changing. The holidays are behind us. We got the hangover holiday probably, but you know what we're going to do is we're going to try to get rid of it and have some fun today. I got Luke Groen, my partner. Good morning, Luke.
Good morning.
Luke and I are partners in Keller Williams, and 2.5 years ago, this company started, and lo and behold, 70 plus agents, pushing $200 million in sales in our second full calendar year and climbing like crazy. And I also have a good friend, an old friend, and an owner of a team headquartered in Wenatchee, but one of those guys that has no limits. Mr. Jeff Hallman's in the radio studio.
Morning, Russ.
Good morning, man. Thanks for coming in and chatting with me and everybody out there. Hey, I wanted to talk about some things about Keller Williams. I wanted to think about collectively this risk return concept. And the three of us in this room are entrepreneurs. I mean, the last job I had, I think, was 1986. So I don't know how old that makes me, but I was a teenager. And here we sit in the reflection in January, looking back at 2020. And I have a theory, guys, that taking advantage of entrepreneurship is the key to a lot of people to be able to control your own destiny. I ask a lot of my friends that had jobs that were always like, why do you take the chance and be self-employed? Why didn't you just take that little finance degree and go work for a company and get that benefit package and have a 401k? And hey, at times in my life, I've had my ass whooped, right? Bottom line. And at those times, every once in a while, you might think, well, maybe I should have done that. It doesn't happen to me very often. In fact, when I was going broke in the Great Recession, I thought it was funny that my phobia was actually that I was going to have to get a job. And I was so delusional in the recession, I thought that job would pay me $250,000 a year. And I was still scared to death. So I thought I'd start, have you two guys talk about entrepreneurship, and then we can dive into what Keller Williams has done, especially with Jeff and your team, because Jeff, you have a team inside of our family of KW, the Agent 509 team. And I'm just going to plug it right now. If you get a chance and you want to look up somebody that's aggressive and creative, two words that are often looked at, I think, kind of strangely, like judged from the bleacher seats, like that's a problem. But what I love is Jeff's fearless at agent509.com. So Jeff, you've always been an entrepreneur, well, since I've known you. I mean, you were working horticulture. Maybe for people that don't know your story, maybe just give us the brief rundown of who Jeff Hallman is. Where were you? Where are you now? And where do we think we're going?
Russ, thank you. And boy, that's so I guess I'll give you the quick napkin analysis. So worked in the apple industry, had no family in it, so went to school to become a horticulturist. And quite frankly, just stumbled upon becoming a horticulturist. Just met a professor and really understudied under him, and then 4 years later, and then worked in the industry. But the industry, like every job and like every industry, it went through its ups and downs. And so one of the companies I worked with ended up selling their company, and I found myself not having a job. And then one day I got a call from Russ, who you were in the Apple industry, Russ, years ago with your father, and you were one of my customers. And so got into the real estate, and quite frankly, didn't know anything. And I think the longer you're in a business to realize how little you truly know, the more you're in it. And so here we are, and we've kind of evolved over the last 17 years, and the last 2 years with Keller Williams is creating, Agent 509 really is a team, it's a region, and I'm trying to learn how to work within Keller Williams and expand within Keller Williams, and I have really good people that I work with at Agent 509, and but also likewise our clients. So I would say entrepreneurship in general, though, is like anything. If you think it's roses, you're wrong. It's like working out. If you think you're going to just come in once a time, you're wrong. You're not going to get in shape. So for me, I really try not to judge people, whatever their position is. I kind of look at how much are they willing to put into something to get it. Mm-hmm. And also keep a balance of family and health and all that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what I love about you, Jeff, and I think, Luke, you fall into this category too, is that in the beginning when you try to create new habits, right? Our programming is what it is. Fletcher Ellington talks about this a lot, that you're operating on instinctual programming that you don't control, you don't think about, it's in your mind, and you've been, a combination of everything since you were a little kid. What I loved about you, Jeff, is that you're constantly innovating, and you're at least willing to look, if I want to get something different than I have to maybe change some of the way I look at things and embrace new habits, which then complements what I've been doing that's been working, rather than just beat your head against the wall and realize like, well, I'm all that in a bag of chips. And like you said, I agree 100%. The more you know, I've been at it for 32 years. All that really has taught me is I don't know very much. Exactly what you said. And I better be learning based. Or if I'm not, I'll be left behind by somebody else will shoot right past us. Whether that's me as an individual or whether it's a business or whatever. If you're not learning based and humble and treating people with respect, you're in trouble. And that's exactly what you do at Agent 509. That's what makes your environment, I think, so attractive to people. And when we say a team within a team, what that means is Jeff has his own office, his own building right here in Wenatchee. And what's cool about Keller Williams is we allow people to just run with their own brand. And all we are is a resource for them. We're a hub of resources, whether that's legal or whether that's advice or whether that's technology. All we are is to help others help themselves. That's all we're doing. We're not actually kicking in doors for you or anything like that. Jeff's doing it with his team and his skill sets, and we're just complimenting. Keller Williams is just a complimentary service. So, Luke, I wanted to talk to you, too, because when you and I had a good talk about how you were working at another real estate company. Grew up in Leavenworth. Yep. A lot of people don't know this about Luke. I'm going to give you up. Classical pianist, trained, the man. One of these days, I'm going to get you to play. And then you just said, yeah, okay, I'll come to work with Keller Williams. And voila, Shazam, some pixie dust later, you and I are partners. and I'd like
lots of pixie dust.
Yeah, I mean, the boom, all of a sudden. So tell me what that feels like. To go in the last, it's been a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, man, I can't believe, it's been a year and a half, just an incredible year and a half at that. Been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so these opportunities, it's more than just, it's one of the things I think people don't understand about it, the largest real estate company on the planet. There's so many minds out there. There's so many things out there that are way beyond what I've ever thought about. I mean, every time I think I'm getting kind of cool, I just kind of look at other people in Keller Williams like, oh, you sold 50 houses? Well, this guy sold 10,000. So, I mean, you got a couple things you could do differently.
Yeah, that's the awesome thing with Keller Williams is there's no ceiling for anybody. Anybody involved with Keller Williams can go infinitely as high as they want. And that's awesome. I hope, I look forward to Jeff having, 3 more offices, and growing his team even bigger. And
yeah, when you have that abundant mindset and one of the things that I think is attractive to people, and yet it's judged. And Jeff, I'd like to talk to you about that because I know that anytime you're a tip of the spear in anything, you're judged by, especially in today's world of social media. If you want to read the critics, they're in a perfectly good position to throw darts from the bleacher seats with their what I'll call facade of courage, which is really bullshit. At the end of the day, which is really not true. It's just people sitting behind the curtain, judging other people that are trying and doing things that are innovative, and sometimes we fall down. So how do you stay positive? I know you talk a lot about just straight up courage in your business or in life, and I know that you attract people that are into that, but could you talk about how you've overcome that to grow like you have to a point where you have your own business, and regardless of what people think?
I think Jay-Z had a great song growing up. It was called 99 Problems. And I think that we, whatever, you're going to have a ton of problems, right? So, I think being competitive and being collaborative, I think those are really two things. So in one thing in real estate is that, you have to be competitive, right? But competitive isn't like breathing fire. It can be in other different ways. I've seen people who you wouldn't measure them as being very competitive on a physical standpoint, or maybe talking cue, but work ethic, very competitive, very dedicated. But on the converse is collaborative, because if you're not collaborative, then, our roles are really as middlemen and representatives, fiduciary for our customers, whether we're representing the buyer or the seller. And contrary to that, the other broker that if we're working with is the same. So though we're competitive, I think being collaborative, in the spirit of doing what's right. I don't know if that makes sense, but
absolutely, and we're more competitive with the collaboration of we're stronger as a team, and that's proven so much in the Keller Williams model.
Yeah, if you realize that there's always another deal for the next person, and that for you to win, somebody else doesn't have to lose. I talk about that a lot, and that to me is the difference between an abundant mindset and a scarcity mindset. And sadly, in the land of COVID, fear, Fletcher calls it the false evidence appearing real, right? But fear leads us to sometimes scarcity mentality. When we come back in just a minute, we got two more segments talking with Luke Groen and Jeff Hallman with Agent 509. Appreciate you tuning in this January day in the sun. Talk to you soon.